Kiran Desai is an Indian writer. She was born in 1971 in Delhi. At the age of 14, she migrated to England, and 1 year later, she went to the USA. She is the daughter of another famous Indian voice in literature, Anita Desai. Despite her literary legacy, after publishing her first novel, authors agreed on the fact that she is very much her own author. She was described by Salman Rushdie himself as the proof that Indians' encounter with the English language continues to give birth to new children endowed with lavish gifts. In 2006, she published her second novel entitled The Inheritance of Loss. Her novel was granted the £50,000 Man Booker Prize for fiction and made her the youngest female writer winning this coveted English prize. From the title oozes a sense of loss, of lack of inheritance and heritage. This novel aims at rerouting the uprooted characters that were deprived of heritage, legacy, and home in a pseudo-post-colonial and globalized reality. As it is a fictional novel, the characters and their personal stories are invented, created. However, reading this novel reveals the intricate bond that links the story to history, or more especially fiction, history, and her story. As she did when she migrated, her uprooted characters are taken in an endless quest for relocation. The diasporic experience turns homeliness into homelessness, turns the known into the unknown, and the characters' lacks make them look for things that do not exist anymore. There is no such thing as home. Characters are nothing more than unidentified souls stuck in between two places, two languages, two cultures, and the writing itself translates this in-betweenness. Each chapter focuses on a different character, and thus, each one takes place in a very particular locus. There is not a real chronological order in the novel. We keep oscillating between simple narration and memories. There is nothing stable, nothing fixed. The reader is always in between two places, in between two periods of time, in between two states of mind. The mind cannot settle down in the novel. It is always uprooted. This feeling of in-betweenness and the psychological trauma faced by the diasporic characters is at the core of an inner collapse linking the geographical migrations and the numerous displacements to the inner dislocation that consume the characters. Leaving home stands for leaving a part of ourselves. This dislocation of the self is even more radical when some characters start to interiorize racism and white hegemony to the point that self-hatred starts to legitimate dehumanization and the colonial depersonalization at stake both in the homeland and in the host country. Through the prism of post-colonialism and the hybridity of her characters, Kiran Desai sheds light on the intricate bond between the very concept of home and the construction of the self, and tries to fill this loss of inheritance through the very act of writing. The way she writes, the point of view she adopts, everything reflects her Indianness and her will to Indianize literature. By doing so, Kiran Desai is using her writing as a way to correct the mistakes of history. The aim is not to offer the reader a vision of colonization and post-colonization seen and felt on both sides, but to make the Indian voice rise on the international scene and to make it shine. As visible in this sentence, quoted from the novel itself, the subaltern is not a shadow anymore. He has the power to answer back and to blame the sick reality migrants have to face. Kiran Desai is giving the subaltern the right to speak, so that the reader may have access to some forgotten part of history, to some ongoing colonial issues of post-colonization, to some defects of our society. By writing, she creates a balance. While in the novel colonization is represented by white letters on the black tin, she uses a black ink to inscribe the stories of the subalterns on the white paper. In addition, she creates a literary contact zone between the colonial and the colonized land to stress that the two countries are still very intricate even in a context of post-colonization. Indeed, the rhizomatic bond that links the two countries even after India's independence is visible all along the novel. It reaches its apex in the sentence, "Colonial India, free India, the tea was the same, but the romance was gone." This contact zone is also a way to gather reality and fiction, not only as a way to focus on the particular story of a fictional character, but to reach a universal and historical reality, but also to unveil the truth that had been hidden for too long concerning the subaltern. Kiran Desai unveils reality that disturbs. She calls into question our values and principles as human beings, and these are the reasons why she is known as the newest Indian voice in literature.